Joining me now, retired four-star General Jack Keane, chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, and Fox News senior strategic analyst. General Keane, always good to have you with us. You hear this discussion and the potential for Iranian fast boats that could attack some of these ships coming through, or that the Houthis might resurge in order to try to close off the other opening that the Saudis use primarily for their oil transit on the Red Sea. Where do you think this is headed today, General?
Well, I think we've turned the momentum clearly around here. What happened is certainly the Iranians shut down the Straits of Hormuz, and they got a ceasefire out of that. The war was stopped. That's kind of what they wanted. They offered negotiations, but what they really wanted was the war to stop because we were pounding the daylights out of them. And the president and his national security team, and certainly the CENTCOM commander, assessed that situation. This is the strength of the American military. We're very adaptable, we're flexible, we see what the enemy does, and we certainly switch plans and react accordingly. So you're seeing that reaction here. And clearly what we have achieved here is we're shutting down Iran's source of income, period. That is what has taken place before our eyes. That's economic warfare. And what has it given? It's given the administration considerably more leverage going into these negotiations than what they had the first time. That's the reality of what took place. I think the Iranians have made two miscalculations here. Yes, they shut the Straits of Hormuz down, and we began to pay an economic and political price for that inside the United States. And yes, there was certainly pressure on the administration and on President Trump as a result of that. They went into those negotiations thinking this is going to be good for us because the administration is going to make some concessions to us because of that pressure. Wrong. That did not happen. As a matter of fact, we stood our ground. The president is talking to his team. He said, I want everything. And they didn't get everything. And Iran had to go home with their tail between their legs and figure out what's the strategy next here. The other thing is they're threatening, as usual, strong rhetoric, how they're going to interfere with what we're doing here in terms of this blockade, which has taken all of their revenue away. Well, if they're going to do that over the next 8 days, you know what's going to happen. We're back in full combat operations again. They know that. We'll see if they're actually going to take that move. In terms of where we're going here, remember, this is phase one. The blockade, take their revenue away from them and make certain that there is no ships going in, going out, dealing with Iranian oil. But how much of the other ships that are not involved in Iranian oil, all the rest of those countries there that are distributing oil, are they going to flow through the straits? Or are they still going to be, in their minds, are the owners of the ships still feel it's too dangerous to do that because of the Iranian threat that had existed, and in their minds does it still exist? The United States military and the president are prepared for that reality. And if that doesn't open up, and certainly we'll see if it does, my judgment is it probably won't. And that brings in then the operation to open up the straits. And what the military mission is, first clear it, get the mines out of there, make it secure, and then prepare to escort ships through it and protect them all through that escort, with drones out around them and drones hundreds of miles away, picking up any missiles that are coming. Same thing with aircraft. Protect that entire transit through there. And that's a longer operation. And at some point, if we have to continue that operation, then we would turn it likely over to allies and partners. So there's really two phases to this. The phase one, the blockade phase, and then two, do we need the other phase? And assuming that we may need the other phase, preparations are being made certainly to do that phase and do it earnestly and successfully.
Who would those allies and partners be in that phase two?
Yeah, they would be. And
who
there
are they?
A number of them that have volunteered to do that. There's a number of European countries that are going to participate. Certainly allied countries, the Arab countries in the region are going to participate in that as well. And I think there may be some Asian countries, but I'm not sure yet. There's been some discussions with them in terms of participation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so listen, we need help to do that. No doubt about it. And we've said that from the beginning. We can start it and make sure it's secure. And that's one of the things the other countries don't want to be involved in in getting that level of security established. But we frankly do need some assistance to carry that on over time. And hopefully that the promise that we're getting, hopefully it's fulfilled.
Yeah, well, as the president says, Asia and Europe have a lot more transit through this area than we do. So hopefully they'll change their minds. Starmer doesn't seem to be on the same page at the moment, but we'll see where this goes. Thank you so much, General. As always, day by day, you are the best source for following what's going on. Thank you, sir.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.